Our schools are in crisis. As governments at all levels grapple with tight budgets, the cost of a public school education continues to rise. But even as education budgets balloon, bursting at the seams, graduation rates and test scores continue to decline. Many people assume these problems are limited to our inner city schools, but that's just not the case. Even America's best public schools in the most affluent areas are falling behind when compared to schools in the rest of the developed world. Some argue the solution is simple: more money. Others argue that throwing good money after bad can't continue. So what's the solution? One thing is for certain: our children are trapped under a public education system weighed down by union demands, state and federal mandates, and a fat, unresponsive bureaucracy. That leaves America with a question: do we have a choice? Hi, I'm Juan Williams. As parents, we routinely make choices for our children, and we make those choices based upon what we think is the best for our child. When it comes to choosing how we educate our children, however, many parents find that they have no choice at all. Unless one is wealthy enough to afford a private school, able to educate their children at home, or lives in a state that offers a voucher program, most parents are forced to send their children to a school determined exclusively by where they live. And if one happens to live close to a poorly performing school, well, that's just your tough luck. Which is why some people have created a different kind of solution. Their stunning answer is less concerned with the power of money. Instead, their focus is on the simple power of having options. The solution is parental school choice. When parents are given the power to choose, schools are given the incentive to compete. And with competition comes flexibility, adaptability, and innovation. Allowing parents to choose which schools receive education dollars poses a significant threat to the status quo. The current beneficiaries of the failed status quo are not going away without a fight. No single entity benefits more from the current system than the teachers' unions. They obstruct and resist education reform whenever and however it is tried. Elected officials from across the country and from both political parties are in historic fights for better schools. But these government leaders are being distracted by skirmishes with union leaders. As a result, like so many parents, they too don't have any choice. One place where the battle over school choice is playing out very publicly is right here in the city of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel, the former White House chief of staff, has inherited a dysfunctional school system with a ballooning $5 billion budget and a dismal 56% graduation rate. Those who are lucky enough to send their children to private schools do. Even the mayor has his children in private schools. But the rest of Chicago's families remain trapped in a public school system that is failing. It's a matter of the haves versus the have-nots. But I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about school choice. The office of the mayor is officially nonpartisan here in Chicago, though Mayor Emanuel has been a lifelong Democrat, the party usually aligned with the teachers' union. As mayor, however, he has broken ranks with the union and come out very strongly in favor of parental school choice, specifically advocating the expansion of the charter school system here in Chicago.
I think the system was never designed to benefit the kids. We know what we need to do.
Yeah.
And as adults, we're failing the children. We committed to 4 more new charters. So we're giving parents more choice all the time. Okay? And that is a commitment I'm going to make to give parents that choice.
Out of Chicago's parental school choice program, a real solution has emerged. It's one that is accomplishing more with less. Their answer is rattling the cages of the education system's traditional power brokers. What you're about to witness is a tale of two cultures, one intent on maintaining its power and influence, and one intent on preparing our children for life. one obsessed with the mechanics of contract negotiations, and one obsessed with graduating all of its students. This is the story of a Chicago miracle and the people who would kill it.
Today, we are here because we want more high-quality charter school options.
I am here to support choice.
We're here to say we want a choice, and that no one should deny parents the right to choose their school for their children.
Every child, regardless of neighborhood, race, religion, socioeconomic status, every single child has the right to a quality education.
We need options. We deserve to be heard and to be respected and to be supported.
It is a fight that we must wage for every child.
I am here to support charter schools because they work.
The concept of charter schools emerged in the late 1980s. The idea was simple. Schools chartered by universities, cities, and even public school boards, and funded with public money, but free to be more creative due to less bureaucracy, less regulation, and increased accountability. The first charter school was founded in Minnesota in 1991. Since then, 40 states have passed charter laws, removing limits on the number of schools and expanding this option for parents. While charter models vary, the universal focus is student achievement and accountability for teachers and administrators. Many charter operators have achieved incredible results. Mike Feinberg and David Levin founded KIPP in 1994 and have expanded their schools across the country. Others, like Eva Moskowitz and her New York-based Success Academies, focus on one state. One charter network that has achieved remarkable results is the Noble Charter Network in Chicago. An unassuming building on the city's north side serves as the network's flagship campus, founded in 1999 by Michael and Tanya Milkey.
My wife Tanya and I both taught in district high schools. I taught for 8 years. I was a math teacher and saw students who weren't achieving the potential they could. Charter legislation in Illinois was passed in '96 and gave teachers like us the opportunity to open a school. And we said maybe there are things that we can do that'll push the students further academically and socially.
Why weren't those students performing up to potential?
Part of it was a school culture where the discipline was not strong, the student behavior wasn't good. That was one of the areas that we thought was most important. And the other thing is we were able to use the charter freedoms, I think, to attract a really high quality of adult. Longer hours, rewards based on performance, I think the ability to use dollars more efficiently all lead to demonstrated success in terms of both academic preparedness and enrollment in college.
You are able to use dollars more effectively to educate children because
we don't have the bureaucracy of either the union contract or the CPS bureaucracy, or even another great example is our principals don't have to be state certified to be principals. So we get a much bigger pool of principals than the Chicago Public School District. I think our biggest strength are our principals, and we have much more freedom in the ability to hire them. Most everyone will tell you the principal is the most important lever for school success, and we have much more freedom.
So in the morning, we have kids coming from all over the city. We're an open enrollment public school, so we have students coming from an hour and a half away often. We have kids that take 2 buses and a train to get here. We have kids whose parents drive them here really early before work starts. From all over the city, there are students that come here because their parents believe, just like our founders Mike and Tanya believe, that every single student here can be successful in life and successful in college, and so they come from a long ways away.
I had to take the 87 bus all the way to the Red Line, take the Red Line all the way to Chicago State. Then I get on the 60 to Chicago and take it all the way to Chicago and Noble.
Wow, so this is an effort for you to get here. It's a haul.
Yes, it's a blessing.
It's a blessing. It's not a haul, it's a blessing.
Yes.
When we get visitors here, they see our students and they think, oh, well, you must be picking just the students who are, their parents are super involved, or you must be picking just the students who are you know, really actually live in middle-class neighborhoods in the city. It's absolutely not the case. This area, the west side where our students live, is not safe a lot of times. And so, you know, even just down the street, there's been gang violence.
Principal Olson is not exaggerating or simply being dramatic. On the very day that our production crew visited Noble's campus, a man was shot twice, only 2 blocks away from the school. It's an uphill battle, but Noble's results offer hope.
The top 10 high schools, I think it's 6 or 5 are Noble. Take out the self-selective enrollment ones.
Right.
Top 10.
Noble.
Noble. They have the secret sauce down. They got the combination to the lock.
One of the things that Noble and other charters have brought to the educational landscape is that school culture is paramount, not only important, but paramount to success. And you know, for too long, I believe in this country, we've allowed students to behave in a way that's just really unacceptable.
I talk to my colleagues around the country, mayors. They're trying to figure out how to turn high schools around, etc. We have it right here. You can go into a Noble high school, put a blindfold on before you walk in. Nobody tells you, and I can tell you whether you're just at any school or you're at a Noble charter school. And I went to speak in the lunchroom where they were at breakfast, about 200 of them, kids. The principal holds up the hand, the room becomes quiet.
Okay, hey, just 2 quick things. First of all, good luck to soccer, volleyball, and football this weekend. Good luck. Cross country.
Every college, the senior class, the flag from the college, it's inoculated into the children about going to college. Freshmen have to walk by that every day.
These are all the colleges they went to?
Yeah, this is our alumni hall. This is the school. This isn't just a bunch of pennants that we bought. These are the colleges that our students are attending or have graduated from. So we've just been around a short while, but we have over 100 college grads.
Like what I've seen them do with my oldest brothers and sisters, like how they have succeeded in here. Like I want to do what they did. I want to follow their footsteps and like go to the college they went to and all those things.
Do you know where you want to go to college?
Oh well, my sister, like Gloria Munoz, she really got me interested in going to Stanford.
One of the things that I'm picking up about the culture here is the young people say to me, we're really tight. We're good friends, especially as compared to when they were going to the traditional Chicago public schools. And I noticed that attendance here is much higher on a daily basis than it is at Chicago public schools. Why are the kids here closer? Why do they have a better identity with the school? Why are they making an effort to come to school every day?
Right, so one of the reasons they're close is they're all unified against the discipline code, which is really strict. People often criticize charters because students leave because the discipline is too strict. And I would argue, having taught in a Chicago public high school, that far more kids leave Chicago public high school because the discipline is not strict enough than ever leave Noble because the discipline is too strict. But at the end of the day, students want to be in a place where they feel physically safe, emotionally safe, and they know they have lots of caring adults around.
Our students live in the community with students who don't go to a charter high school. So they are related to and friends with students whose everyday experience looks very different from theirs.
And for them, half of them ditch school. They don't pay attention to the teachers. The type of kids that I hang out with, like sometimes their temper could get to them and it could be very negative to an adult and like very bad that you see like on the news. So I'm just like, I'm not like that. My life is different because I'm at Noble.
What is this?
Oh, so this is our dress code, and this is Martika, and every single student, she's graduated, she's in college now, but this is every single student needs to be in this dress code, this uniform. If they're not, then there's consequences for that.
Well, hold on. So it's your natural hair color. Mm-hmm. No earrings for the males.
Yep. You can't clip it on your shirt. You
right.
have to just put it away. Yep.
No chains. Mm-hmm. No bracelets.
Yeah.
Piercings or tattoos.
Right. No visible ones.
So what do you do, like cover them over?
Just cover it over, yeah.
Right,
we have sweaters, yeah.
No corduroys or skinny pants?
Right.
No pants sagging.
No.
I'm all for that. You also have a longer school day.
We do. We have a longer school day and a longer school year.
How much longer?
The school day, I believe, for us on average network-wide is a little over 7 hours a day.
Versus what is it in the traditional
We're
Chicago
2,000
public
minutes
schools?
a week. What is the minutes per week?
Yeah, so it's about a little over 5, so it's about an hour and a half to 2 hour difference.
So over
per day.
a 4-year period, it's like 10 months
Right.
additional time in class
Right.
for a child that goes to Noble.
About a year.
Do you think that the Noble schools have a demonstrated level of achievement for students that differs radically from the students in traditional Chicago public schools?
Yes. So I think if you would look at, whether you look at academic success as measured by the ACT, whether you look at college enrollment, whether you look at even, I think, the amount of community service hours that students serve, I think it is demonstrably higher. And it's not a big surprise because we have, as you basically 5 years packed into 4 years of school.
Given the amazing success that we've seen here today, you would think that people would want to adopt the Noble model as an example for schools in Chicago, around the nation, everywhere. But there are people who are invested in stopping the charter school model, the Noble example, from becoming an example to schools everywhere. Who are these people? Why would they do that? Well, it's no secret. There's no hidden hand. The people who invest money in stopping charter schools from spreading, the people who invest political energy in getting politicians to mount opposition to charter schools are the teachers' unions.
Do I think the union leadership has been a problem in resisting? Absolutely. They're suing me in the courtroom. So they can say what they want. My view is let's not spend time in the courtroom, let's spend time in the classroom. Help me design how the math should be done, the reading, the writing. Focus on the classroom. Leave the courtroom to other people. It's not where we belong.
Shortly after we sat down with Mayor Emanuel, the Chicago Teachers Union dropped their lawsuit, but at a price. In exchange, the mayor has agreed to stop offering financial incentives to schools that lengthen their school day. And so, for the time being, Chicago's children attending unionized schools will continue to have one of the shortest school days in the nation.
I'm asking them to change the rules on behalf of the kids. I said this before and I say it again. I know what the teachers got when the contract was done. And I don't begrudge it, I got it. I know what the politicians got. They didn't get a strike. Said it right here at this podium. Nobody can tell me what the kids got. And I'm not going to be a party to that. I love this job. I don't love it so much that I'm going to be a party to something that I think cheats kids.
We wanted to talk with representatives of the Chicago Teachers Union, headquartered right here at Chicago's well-known Merchandise Mart. We wanted their side of the story, but they declined repeated attempts to be interviewed for this story. But that doesn't mean the CTU, the Chicago Teachers Union, has been shy about their opposition to school reform. On October 10th, 2011, the Chicago Teachers Union organized an angry street protest demanding higher taxes to support the existing and failing school system. That's where our cameras finally caught up with Karen Lewis, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union.
But we can just kill innocent people in the name of the state. While these real thieves and robber barons continue to grow, let's look at the top 10 richest people in America. 9 out of 10 of them have their fingers in the educational reform pie. 9 out of 10. And ask them one single thing they know about real education, real public education. They cannot tell you. Brothers and sisters, let's go find these people and show them a real Chicago welcome.
Many Chicago teachers were arrested the day of the protest, but there's more to these arrests than meets the eye. The Chicago Teachers Union actually determined who would and who would not be taken into custody before the march. In the following exchange, CTU members discussed whether Michael Brunson, a union official, will be arrested that day.
He said he's not being arrested. He's not on the list.
What do you think your students students would think of you guys getting arrested today. Is that a good example to set?
Our students will think that we're standing up for our schools and for their education.
But why did you need to get arrested for
They
that?
are defunding education.
Because our children are getting shafted, and it's not by the teachers or the parents.
When the union president isn't busy leading street marches or arranging for her membership to be arrested, she's busy working the talk circuit. Here, in a recent speech, she mocks Arne Duncan, the Secretary of Education, and jokes about using illegal drugs and going to jail herself.
This guy who has the nerve to stand up and say, education is a civil rights issue of our time. Now, you know he went to private school, because if he had gone to public school, he'd have had that lisp fixed. I know that was ugly, wasn't it? I'm sorry. And I'm too fat to go to jail, is what I tell them. I can't fit in the cell. So I have to behave a little bit. But I'm losing weight because I'm preparing to go, because they're going to send me to jail. I know it at some point. I'm going to jail.
Her controversial remarks caused a media uproar and drew criticism from all corners of the political spectrum.
No, Miss Lewis, you were not supposed to say that. Not in a keynote address at a public conference. Not on the eve of negotiating a new contract for 32,000 Chicago teachers.
The union president eventually apologized to Secretary Duncan. She conceded that her language was, quote, inappropriate and insensitive, end quote. But she also defiantly blamed right-wing pundits and anti-public education bloggers for what she called a pseudo-firestorm. In other words, rather than taking full responsibility for what she plainly said, she pointed her finger at others, blaming the messenger for the hurtful words that were clearly her own. It's a disturbing pattern. Chicago Teachers Union members and leadership repeatedly providing terrible examples for Chicago's school children. Disturbing, but not surprising, from a teachers union that is so radically politicized that it's become dysfunctional. Test scores of Chicago public school students are stagnant or in decline, but Chicago teachers' salaries have continued to rise. The average salary of a Chicago teacher is now over $74,000, while the median household income for Chicago is below $50,000. The average salary for an administrator is even higher at $120,000. And what did Chicagoans get in exchange for paying these premium salaries? A 56% graduation rate. That's right, 56%. By contrast, the graduation rate at Noble is a consistent 99%. Yet there is little appreciation for charter schools among the leaders of the Chicago Teachers Union.
You need to educate yourself about charter schools, because right now Mayor Emanuel is creaming neighborhood schools by opening charter schools in areas instead of investing in neighborhood schools. The neighborhood school takes everybody, and we're proud to take everybody. We've been teaching Chicago students for a long time.
I think there are some things about charters that are unknown, or myths, as you say, that we select our students, which we do not at Noble. It's a lottery. If students apply and come in, if there's space, if there's not space, there's a lottery. It's a public lottery. The only people guaranteed admission are siblings. So I would say that's one of the first myths.
Charter schools they're supposedly public schools, but again, they're not unionized. They have less rules that they have to comply with.
We've exchanged a very high degree of accountability for the flexibility that we have to run our schools in the way we feel like our students are going to be the most successful. The difference is we don't have to ask permission to have those things. We don't have to negotiate with anyone to have those things. We set out to have those things, and the principals are the ones who design how that looks.
For me personally, it doesn't matter that I'm part of a union or not. I feel here at Noble I have all the support that I need. They might say, well, you're working more hours, or you're not protected by the union, or in a way they might say you're just doing many things that in other schools you wouldn't be doing, and you're getting paid probably the same amount or even maybe less. I feel that if I'm doing my job, beyond 100% or even 100%, that I will be respected and valued as a teacher here.
I don't know if you know about the backdoor policy at every charter school in Chicago. If you don't measure up and your parents aren't engaged, and as a student you don't perform high, they'll send you back to the neighborhood school. And that's why they're able to claim high graduation rates and high success rates and high test rates. They say, hey, 97% of our students go on to the next level or are successful. But we don't tell you that we got rid of the lower performing kids.
We fight so hard to keep every single student that we have. I have spent time on my own prep periods going to students' houses. If a student had a suspension, for example, making sure they got caught up on the work. We talk long hours with kids. We don't want to push out anybody. We want everyone to graduate with us after 4 years.
We make every effort to make sure that every student that starts at Noble graduates from Noble.
The reason we're successful more than anything else is that parents believe that this is a good place for their children, and they've seen the results and they tell their friends, and we have more and more parents. That's why we have thousands of students still on the waiting list, even though we have 6,500 students we serve currently. There's thousands of more that want it. Why? Because we only stay in business if we make the parents happy. And so our job is what's going to make the parents happy, which ultimately is having their children be successful.
My thing is education. I'm an advocate for education, and I'm looking for the best possible education that my kids can have.
And where'd you find it?
I found it at Noble.
Noble has the most successful high schools I've seen. There is a mission to their work that we have to return to every school. They have involved parents, committed teachers, a principal that is trained and ready to go and not scared about being held accountable and measures the results. They're on a mission. They're not just doing a job. Correct. They're on a mission.
But while Noble teachers are busy pursuing an educational mission, the Chicago Teachers Union is busy protesting in the streets. And for what? To protect a patronage system? To safeguard the union's turf and influence? And to ensure bigger paychecks despite poor performance? If the Chicago Teachers Union would put as much effort into improving as they do into protesting, then perhaps Chicago wouldn't be so burdened by violence, crime, and lack of economic mobility, all born of bad schools. If we want our children to be competitive worldwide, our schools need to be competitive worldwide. The first step towards achieving that goal is to make them compete for our education dollars. For decades now, unionized government schools with a near monopoly on education have been the status quo. But if this status quo is allowed to continue unchecked and unchallenged, we will lose another generation of Americans. The parental school choice movement is an inspired and idealistic attempt to finally reverse that trend, to take back control of our children's education from organized interest and place it where it belongs, in the hands of parents. Ultimately, the more choices you have, the more freedom you have. And freedom always works. If your child were stuck in a failing school, wouldn't you want the freedom to choose something better? Shouldn't we all? I'm Juan Williams. Thanks for watching.